What's up, everybody? Welcome to KindaFunny Games Daily for Tuesday, a Widow Wednesday on September 13th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the infallible Gary Witta.
It actually is a Widow Wednesday, isn't it? No, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
I said the part where I did the Tuesday on a Wednesday.
I long since lost track of what day of the week it is. It's all just a blur. Yes, Widow Wednesday on a Tuesday for once, because I don't do the regular slot anymore. Now I'm just here when you're desperate.
It's been too long, Gary. It does me well to see you. How have you been? How has the XCast been treating you? What are you drinking?
XCast is good. I'm drinking. I haven't had McDonald's breakfast in a really, really long time, but I just kind of was in the mood for one today. So I got myself a sausage muffin. Yeah, always a solid choice. You like the biscuit?
You put the egg on there, or is it just the sausage muffin?
No, I went the full egg, cheese, the whole thing. Do you like the biscuit or the muffin, Greg?
Oh, I'm a muffin man. I'm an egg McMuffin man. I do like their biscuit, but I'm an egg McMuffin man.
I'm a muffin man. Leah, my wife, is a biscuit person. I do like the chicken biscuit that they have there now. They have like a southern chicken breakfast biscuit that
they try to pass off as breakfast. It's just fried chicken and a biscuit for breakfast.
Yeah, basically, but I'm not complaining. I ain't complaining. So I got the whole combo with the hash brown and this giant ass. Like it's all the same price. So you might as well get the big one. This is an iced coffee with hazelnut, some kind of hazelnut syrup. It's very
sweet. Take them to the cleaners. Take them to the cleaners, I say. Yeah, no, their stuff's too sweet. You got to get it.
It's very sweet.
Black. Yeah. And then Blessing gets it and just spills it all over his car. Outside of that, though, you've been good. What have you been playing? What's been happening in the game?
What have I been playing? I just started playing a game that I discovered on Game Pass that just came out this past week called Coffee Talk, which I really like.
You discovered. Greg talked about that how long ago on PlayStation?
Well, I'm not saying I discovered it like fucking Copernicus or something. I'm saying like I happened to find it and now I'm playing it.
You enjoyed it? I like Coffee Talk. I like Coffee Talk.
No, it was good. I'm actually surprised that you liked it because I didn't think you liked those kind of sedate story,
I'm a big
visual novel type games, but I'm a
big talk person. You go in there, you're making coffee for people, and then you're going through their problems and your problems. I love that.
It's interesting because it's got the vibe that I like, right? It's kind of Seattle, it's rainy, it's coffee shop, it's late night, people coming in and telling you their stories. Like this is like a cool idea for the game. But then it's got this weird fantasy element as well, right? It's almost like you're living. It's the modern world, but we've got trolls and elves and. It's almost like a mashup between that Netflix movie where the orcs were cops or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And what was the name of that Pixar movie where they had like it was magic, but then they invented technology and now it's like modern. But what was the name of that movie?
It was the one about the brothers.
The one about the brothers. Well, I can't remember the name of it.
It was like
My Dad's Dead.
Onward. Yeah.
So it's like that.
That's what it was.
It's like that, but it's good. I really like it. And again, just another great little advertisement for Game Pass. That's not something that I necessarily would have. I don't know what the retail price of it is, probably like anywhere between like 10 and 20 bucks, but I probably wouldn't have bought that on a whim, but I tried it on a whim because it's there, Game Pass, quick install because it's a little indie game. And it got its claws into me. I've really been enjoying it.
Yeah, big fan of that one. I enjoyed myself, and you should play it too. I didn't know it was on Game Pass. That's a great one.
Yeah. Well, what was it on before? Was it a PlayStation game or something?
Yeah, I played it on PlayStation 4 back when it originally came out in January 2020.
Yeah, because the game's set in 2020. That's right. Yeah, and I guess it eventually found its way to Xbox and Game Pass, and I'm really enjoying it. I like those.
They didn't even know. There's gonna be a global pandemic and all that stuff. Didn't even know about it.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying that. Am I playing anything else? Still playing. Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with my fifth grader?
How are you doing? Are you smarter?
I beat her. I beat her every time. There's no mercy in my house. That's the only way she'll learn. And to be fair, the way that the school curriculum works out here is the stuff that my kid learned is not necessarily the stuff that shows up like on that game. Like my kid doesn't do like they're just now doing geography, right? And history in fifth grade in the school system here. But like that's considered a lot of those questions are considered like first and second grade questions, which is weird. Like first graders aren't learning about geography. I don't know where they're getting their like curriculum from on this game. That whole game, as much as we're enjoying it. We like these cheap and cheerful trivia games, but it feels like I don't know if you played that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game that they put out, where they just shat it out to make a quick buck. This kind of has kind of a similar feel to it. But I'm
shocking to know one of my favorite Game Gear games was Jeopardy. Real
No,
stoked when I got
I love.
Jeopardy for
I mean, I
Christmas.
think look, not everything has to be some brilliant innovation in game design. Sometimes it's fun just to get people around for like families and people that aren't necessarily into video games, but they know like how to do a trivia game. Like press A for this answer, press B for that answer. Things
Sure.
that everyone can play. Fun for all the family. Like those games aren't considered cool, but there is a necessary place for them in the gaming landscape. They have a purpose and a spot to fill, and there's an audience for them, and I'm a member of that audience.
Speaking of audiences, you're in ours, so let's talk about the fact that Breath of the Wild 2 has a name and a release date. GoldenEye 007 is back, and you're getting a PlayStation State of Play today. We'll talk about all that and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. On patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get the show ad-free, and you can get it with the exclusive post show we do each and every weekday. Of course, it would also get you a bevy of benefits for things like the Xcast, PS I Love You XOXO, and the Gamescast, where you can watch us record them a day earlier than everybody else when they get them, and they have to go sit through the ads and they don't get the post show and they don't have a great time. However, if you don't want to have a great time and you have no bucks to toss our way, it's no big deal. There's lots of free ways to support Kinda Funny. Number one, of course, use our creator code EPIC on the Epic Game Store. The creator code is Kinda Funny. Of course, all one word. If you're buying something on the Epic Game Store, if you're getting something for free on the Epic Game Store, if you're getting Fortnite V-Bucks on your PlayStation or Rumbleverse on your Xbox, you should use creator code Kinda Funny because it helps us. It doesn't cost you a thing. Of course, you can support this show by watching us record it live on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Remember, the experiment is continuing. We are doing the month of September now on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, where we record the show live for you to watch. Be in the chat, just like Mario is and Ronald is and Toby are. If you're in that live chat, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're-wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday.
Greg, can I just insert a quick disclaimer before we go any further?
Gary, what I want you to know is you can insert anything into me anytime
I can insert anything I want into you at any point? Okay. Well, what I'm going to insert into you at this point, before I forget, I just want to pre-warn you with a little kind of sorry, Greg, I was miles away type disclaimer.
Sure.
Just because this may come up later.
Okay.
When I agreed was it yesterday?
Yeah,
you
to
asked
be on
me to
this
do
show.
this?
Yeah.
When I very kindly, I'm going to preface this correctly, when I very kindly agreed to step into this and get you out of a jam at the last minute at very short notice, I briefly forgot that this time slot would coincide with Tottenham Hotspur playing in the Champions League against Sporting Lisbon. So I have that in another window here right now. Yeah. So if you see me over here, I'm miles away. If I'm over here, I'm all good. So I just wanted to let you know that that's a thing that could possibly be a factor as we go forward. But
I don't want the Tottenham.
I'm going to get out in front of it.
Get out of there. So you don't worry about it. This is there in the Champions League, but this isn't the championship, right? There's still like 90 more games.
No, this is the most prestigious club football tournament in the world, where all the top teams in Europe compete. Tottenham Hotspur, of course, being an elite club that we are, being one of those top teams in Europe. We're here, so we don't need to talk about football. I'm just letting you know that it's over here, and if you see me over here looking distracted, you know the reason why.
What was the
I am going to do my best to keep my focus on you.
Did they pause the soccer for the Queen's passing, or did they let it
go? They did, and it's continued to pause. The games were cancelled last weekend, and they're cancelled this weekend coming up, and it's leading to a lot of logistical fixture congestion. Like the schedule's already bad enough as it is, and now they have to make up all of these games. Sure. I think they've as you know, I'm a staunch anti-monarchist, so I'm likely to have this point of view anyway. But I think they've overdone it with all of the canceling things and the reaction and stuff. I get that it's a big deal to a lot of people, but I have this theory that the funeral is still like a week away. Basically, it's not until next Monday. That's going to be a long week between now and Monday when that happens. I feel like a lot of people are going to be sick of it and enough already. But I think they've overdone it, and it's going to wind up being a bit counterproductive.
But Gary, there's still so many tears in the kingdom, you know.
Do you think that's really the reason why Nintendo didn't show that live in the UK?
100%.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Well, my condolences, Gary. I know this hit you hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely gutted, as you know. Yeah.
Thank you to our Patreon for. Oh no, I didn't. No, I did say stay to play. Like I said, PlayStation. This is still housekeeping. PlayStation Stay to Play, 3 p.m. Pacific today. It will be live streamed on YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames. Come watch it with us. If you're watching this later, listening to this later, remember you can get it on YouTube.com/KindaFunnyGames on demand whenever you want it. So go have a good time. Thank you to our Patreon producer Fargo Brady. Today we're brought to you by Shopify and MeUndies, but we'll tell you about that later. For now. Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. 8 items on the Roper Report.
Is it a good? It feels like it's. I've only I haven't had a lot of time to check in with the news, but obviously I know there was a direct this morning, and I saw some other headlines. Feels like it's a good news day today. There's lots going on.
You got a lot to talk about, Gary. So I'm sorry that the Tottenham hotspots are over there having their thing right now.
Yeah, my. On the hotspots.
Number 1 on the Roper Report. Let's talk about it, ladies and gentlemen. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom headlined a disappointing direct. We'll go through the top 2 parts of the direct, I think. Then we'll get into a whole rundown for you, but we will start with The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. In addition to the vast lands of Hyrule, the latest entry in the storied Legend of Zelda series will take you into the skies in an expanded world that goes beyond that. Look forward to Link's massive adventure starting again when The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, drops for Nintendo Switch on May 12th, 2023. As you see here on the trailer, there he is, the man himself, Link, jumping out of the thing, falling. Now he's on this rock, and that's going up in the sky, and then he's climbing here. Ooh, the climbing's back. He's got some stamina. He's falling again, everybody. Is it Skyward Sword? No, it's falling. And he lands on a Fortnite glider, and he is going to drop on Twisted. He's going to Twisted, everybody. Gary, have you watched this trailer already all the way through?
Yes, I did. I did see it. I woke up. So when I woke up this morning, it was already halfway through the direct, but I put it on anyway, as I was having my my cornflakes this morning.
Your cuppa.
Or I should more accurately, my frosted mini wheats. As I was having my frosted mini wheats, I watched the back end of. I think Bayonetta 3 was what was on as I put up the YouTube video. So like halfway through, and I thought, well, I'll continue to watch it because they'll usually save the best stuff till the end. You know, there's like one more thing it'll be at the end, as indeed there was. So I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I can talk to you more generally about the Nintendo Direct, but the Zelda thing, obviously, I guess the Barretts of the world are going to be going through it frame by frame and extrapolating all kinds of things from the footage. But it seems like for the rest of it, it seems like the main thing was like the title and the release date. Those were the 2 main points, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for Zelda, for sure, yeah.
So I'm curious, Barrett, was there anything in your CSI enhanced mode? You said you've already been through. Were you able to deduce anything?
Not a whole lot, I think, added on top of the trailers that we've already gotten, right? You know, we've seen Link fallen from the sky, using this rewind feature on items that we've seen before. You know, him in his like beast mode outfit there.
Beast mode.
And yeah, I think the interesting thing is just showcasing of like, it seems like maybe this is a little bit more of like a loading sequence here, right? Of like being able to go all the way from the top down to the kingdom, right? I think that's really interesting of like how they're going to be able to pull that off on a technical
it's like the Mass Effect elevator, basically.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not entirely sure. That's just my guess of like how do they get that to run on Switch with like all of that going on all at once, right?
Right.
The logo treatment I really like. The logos, if you see here, looks like this interesting little dragon thing, which if you remember from another Tears of the Kingdom gameplay trailer, you saw at one point Link on his arm had this like interesting little dragon device that was breathing out fire. So I feel like that's going to be really important for like lore and story stuff, more so than just like an item that you get. And you know, there's a little bit more of like GoldenEye stuff here that we see in the like the glyphs and stuff here. That if you don't know, the GoldenEye are a group of like a tribe of people who you see hints of throughout Breath of the Wild. If you see any like ruins with like green glyphs on them, that's usually them, and they kind of disappeared from this world for some unknown reason. So I imagine we'll get more about that and the fact that they're kind of a part of that like logo treatment with like the kind of green vibe going on. I feel like, you know, it's just confirming that they're going to be a kind of big part of the story. And that's really all I have besides this intro right here showing who I assume might be a villain character here who doesn't look like Ganon or Ganondorf. That'll be interesting.
Could be Jack from Jack and Daxter too.
It could also be the rabbit looking dude from A Link Between Worlds. If you remember the rabbit
I
salesman.
do remember the rabbit. Yeah.
What do you think of the title?
I like it. You know, it was of the speculation for years of like it'll be something of the something, and that was the closest I think anybody really got to actually correctly guessing the titles. But I like it. It feels different for some reason for a Zelda title, but I'm into it, and you know it makes sense with like a lot of the tear droplet imagery that we got from previous trailers for this game. And I imagine that might also deal with the Zonai, like you know, maybe the tragic history of why they fled the kingdom and stuff like that, and learning more about the history of this specific version of Hyrule.
It also opens them up to maybe cover Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven,
That's
like
true.
during the end credits when he's
That's
falling. Would you know my name?
Yeah, that seems likely.
Just putting it out there, you know what I mean? Nintendo trying to be contemporary. Maybe this is the chance
And
to bust out this 1992 hit from Eric Clapton about the death of his son.
Maybe they can add some lines about how vaccines are actually secret government microchip surveillance programs.
No, don't tell me that's what Eric Clapton.
Oh yeah, he's do you know hear about that?
At this point,
yeah, Clapton's he's lost the plot.
How the fuck is it that any random fucking name I pull out, whether it's a former professional wrestler or musician, has some fucking horrible skeleton in their closet about just anything in their life? What is up with everybody?
He's a
Ladies and gentlemen,
racist
I
too.
promise you, ladies and gentlemen, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, you are wandering the desert that used to be the nice plains of the Great Plains, and you are trying to get a drop of water from whatever to feed your kid or whatever. There's sand, there's pirates, and there's all these people. You gather on a campfire and you talk to them about what world was like before and the celebrities you knew and all these different things. You're like, I knew this one guy used to do stuff on the internet, and you say Greg Miller, they're not going to be like, oh, that guy? Oh, the guy who said the sandworms didn't exist? Like, I will, if the sandworms exist, and that's what we're fighting in 50 years, I'll admit it.
All right.
Yeah, if you really want to go down, go Google Eric Clapton racist and see where that takes you.
Someone in the chat said he thinks that black British people aren't British or something like that. Like that's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know. Zelda is fun, right?
Anyways,
Zelda's great until it turns out, of course, Link has some horrible thing he did in college and filmed it.
No. The last thing about the logo treatment, the sword turning into what seems to be like the Zonai arm thing that we've seen in past trailers.
Like going up the wall.
Link's arm gets all weird. Definitely Twilight Princess vibes from that kind of artwork that we've seen in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. I'm very excited.
The big question is Barrett Courtney.
Speculate on and so little to speculate on.
It feels like they showed, in terms of footage, they showed very little in that trailer.
As
right?
they do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes round robin. Do you think Barrett Courtney? I'll start with you. May 12th will actually happen. Is that when we're all going to be sitting there playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah, I think myself and probably a lot of other people in the past have said they will not reveal a date until they're confident that they will hit that date. I think this will happen. We will be playing this game on May 12th.
Gotcha. Gary?
Sorry.
The hot spurts almost hit it, but they hit the crossbar and they're going crazy at Wembley. They got the blue card, the pink card pulled. Everybody, we're adding an unknown amount of time.
Hold on a second. Oh no, that was offside. Fair enough. Sorry, what was the question, Greg? I did warn you this could happen. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, you warned me when the show started. If you would have just said you couldn't do it, I would have got Janet. May 12th. Do you think you're gonna be playing Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, I don't think they would put a date out unless they were confident they could hit it.
Okay. I think they're confident too, and I think they will hit it, but I'll say for argument's sake, they won't hit it just to make everybody, look back at this and go, man, Greg was right. Or
Nintendo has changed dates after announcing dates, right? It's not like Nintendo's like, once we say a date, that's holy writ, right? I mean, Animal Crossing famously slipped from its original date. I don't know.
This game also slips from its original year, and that's why I think.
That's the thing. It slipped from one window to another. I think once it's already slipped once, and then he put a date on it. I think they're doing that with some degree.
I think technically twice. I think at one point they were saying 2022. I think maybe once. KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. I feel like this game technically had 2 different windows before this.
Yeah.
Fair
so
enough.
no, I think for all of those reasons are reasons why I think. Again, I don't think they would have put the date out unless they felt very confident. I think you'll be playing it on May 12th.
Well, we will wait and see, and we will keep you posted here on the one, the only, the Kinda Funny Games Daily. For now, we move to the second item on the Roper Report. Also something that jumped off the screen during the Nintendo Direct, but it goes far larger than that. GoldenEye 007, that's right, GoldenEye 64 is officially coming back. Rare tweeted the following. 25 years after its original release, experience GoldenEye 007 faithfully recreated for Xbox consoles. Includes achievements, 4K resolution, and a smoother frame rate. Even in the split-screen local multiplayer. Coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. Not only that, we've been delighted to work with our friends at Nintendo again on GoldenEye 007's simultaneous release for Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack members. Of course, that's what you're seeing right there. The GoldenEye trailer did premiere and announce this news during the Nintendo Direct. However, there is even more information over on Xbox, or at least more words about what you kind of already heard. But I joined the Xbox post in Paragraph. Players will guide James Bond on a global espionage mission to prevent the devastating power of the GoldenEye satellite from being unleashed upon the world. The classic campaign mode, transformative difficulty levels, and havoc-inducing cheats will all make their return, as will the iconic split-screen local multiplayer mode, allowing up to 4 players to take to the couch in a battle of wits and skill. The original experience has been updated with improved control options, including dual analog stick support, thank God, native 16:9 resolution for up to 4K Ultra HD, where supported, a consistent refresh rate, and a full complement of achievements to unlock. GoldenEye 007 will be made available on Xbox One and Xbox Series X/S as part of Xbox Game Pass. Additionally, players who own a digital copy of Rare Replay, the 30-game compilation of classics from the award-winning studio behind GoldenEye 007's original release, will be able to download and enjoy the game free of charge, which is dope. That's a nice thing to toss in there and support. Gary, are you stoked for the return of the one, the only GoldenEye 007?
I'm stoked for GoldenEye fans, certainly, because I know.
Here we go. Let me predict what's going to happen.
No.
Gary Whitta, of course, was in the PC. He was there. He'd been playing first-person shooters and having them all. So when this thing came out, this was a kid's game to him. He didn't need this weird-ass Nintendo strafing control scheme.
All right, you've got me on this because that is actually exactly what I was going to say. When you're right, Greg. I'll always give you props on the rare occasion when you get it right.
I appreciate it. So you never ever had fun with it? You it's never
no, because as I was going to say, in '97 when it came out, I was editor-in-chief of PC Gamer and I was playing real shooters for grown-ups with a mouse and keyboard with decent frame rates online and LAN play and the way that shooters are meant to be played, as opposed to 4 little screens the size of a fucking postage stamp jammed onto a 19-inch, CRT TV.
Fair enough.
So that's the thing that I find most amazing about GoldenEye, as someone who never really played it, is that split screen mode, because you could split the screen into 4, right? Back then, TVs weren't as big as they are now. How big was the TV that you think you had at home in 1997? Take a guess.
Jeez, man. I remember I got a big screen for a Christmas one year around this time.
The big screen would have been like 32 inches, right?
I was
that would have been
35, maybe. Yeah.
I used to have a 32-inch Sony Trinitron, which it took 3 people to lift it. It was a fucking tank of a television. People don't like kids these days, Greg. They tell you they don't know they're born. They don't remember what it was like having a car when you had to move like a CRT, an old tube TV, especially a big screen one like that, from one room to the other. Now you can just put a flat screen TV under your arm and walk around with it because they weigh nothing, right? Of course, but back in the day, those TVs were an absolute giant, just hugely heavy, molecularly dense things. And I always found it amazing that people were able to enjoy that game to the extent that they did, given that it was split screen. Split screen shooters are tricky to begin with, right? Because you can see what everyone else is doing, and part of like shooter strategy is players not being able to know where you are at any given time, right? Or what if you're waiting around a corner for someone? Like, I should be able to just glance over to the next screen over and see that you're doing that. But in spite of all of these things, the tiny little shared screen space and all of the limitations that come with split screen play, GoldenEye really took off and earned a place for itself in gaming history. And again, I never totally understood why, because I was looking at shooters through a totally different lens as a PC gamer back then. But I think it's great that it's, that prior to, I guess, Halo, for those 4 years before Halo came out, that GoldenEye was kind of the FPS standard bearer, right? It was
For
I
sure.
think probably the most popular console first-person shooter, certainly in the multiplayer space, and it's still very
Time
highly
Splitters tried to give
regarded
us
today.
some hell for PlayStation people, but yeah, GoldenEye 007 on Nintendo 64 was something incredibly special, and I think opened that up to so many different people. And the fact, again, like, you know, take yourself way back to that. Obviously, you could do PC LAN parties and stuff like that, but in the idea of suddenly it's not a 1v1 thing, it is, you know, four people playing against each other, trying to go through, do this, having that group, that party atmosphere of switching out, you know, who's going to be the fourth player, whoever was the worst drop out, stuff like that, come in,
Right.
trying to be the best in your friend group, trying to do all these things. Like the GoldenEye 007 was something really, really special. Now,
Yeah.
before we get too far off the bag and before we keep going into this nostalgia, did you notice anything, Gary? Did you notice anything about, and I know you're miles away and there's a million things happening.
No, I'm paying attention.
Oh, no, I know, but this is like a little thing that you might not, you might have
I'm
missed.
listening.
Hey, Barrett, run the trailer, but get, you know, on that, run
wait,
the
do I
Switch
need to
trailer
pull
for
that up?
007 again.
Okay,
Or
hold on.
GoldenEye.
Watch stream.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Hold on.
Because I read through all the Xbox stuff, right? I talked about what you can do over there, right? Of like classic campaign mode, as will split screen local multiplayer mode, allowing up to 4 players on the couch with skills. The Experience coming soon. This is the N60. But pause right there.
This is for the N64 version, right?
Well, this is the N64 version on Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice, Gary Whitta? That in the entire Xbox report, there is never a mention of online play? It is only in the Nintendo Switch version. Because, ladies and gentlemen, online play for GoldenEye 007 is in fact exclusive to the Nintendo Switch.
That is interesting. And that's a
That
shame
is
because I think
dumb!
I think most people would agree, Greg, that I know obviously we'll wait for them to both come out. But I think at this point, you know, knowing what we know about the two systems, we can make a very educated guess that online play aside, Xbox is going to be the preferable way to play that game. Like if you're playing
100%.
local split screen co-op, for example, or campaign mode, the Xbox is just going to be the more capable system to play it on, right? Than the Switch. But yeah, I don't know if that was a result of a special deal that Nintendo made or whatever, but they've done it, and yeah, it's I'm actually kind of surprised because I didn't read the press release, and you tell it, I'm taking your word for it, that if there's no online play in the Xbox version, that I imagine that can only be as a result of, oh, go on, get in! Yes! Get in there! Wait, hold on. No, don't tell me they've rolled that one off as well. Oh, you piece of shit! Oh, fuck you! Sorry. I really do apologize.
Man, I understand. I've been
What a fucking joke! Hold on a second.
We'll ride through it. Don't worry, it's fine.
Oh no, he was okay. He was off. Still bullshit though. Sorry.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it's really weird because you would fully expect the online version to be in the Xbox, right? Like,
yeah.
One of the things that Xbox is good at is Xbox Live and multiplayer. It's one of the cornerstones.
And inarguably,
of
one of the things Nintendo is terrible at is online multiplayer.
but that's the thing with the expansion pack with these N64 games and a bunch of other like the SNES games and NES is that when applicable, they try to include online multiplayer. So I wonder if that was something that, you know, with that team already working on, you know, bringing GoldenEye to Xbox, they thought to themselves, probably not something that we need to actually like work on, because, you know, if you want to play GoldenEye, like go back to that classic couch co-op or couch PvP.
But it's like the people,
thing.
It's that weird trade-off, right? Though, where it's like the people who grew up doing this are me and Gary, and we're old. And how often do I have my actual friends over on the couch to play games?
Never. I'm not in any way trying to like make excuses for Xbox here, because I think it's a shame that they don't have it. And there's no way they chose to leave it out, right? This has got to be the result of Nintendo locking up some kind of exclusive thing. But you could argue that if what you want to do is replicate the GoldenEye experience that you had back in the day, the Xbox version is still doing all of those things, right? Because Nintendo 64 obviously was pre-online. The way that you experienced multiplayer in that game was local split screen co-op, which the Xbox version is going to have. And I would argue that just across both versions, across the Nintendo 64, the Switch and the Xbox, and there'll be very different iterations, and it'll be interesting to compare the two. I'm sure, you know, lots of outlets will do that, and you guys will probably do it when the games come out, and you'll be able to kind of look at both and see what the pluses and minuses are of both versions. But I think something that will be really helpful to both is going back to what I mentioned earlier about how back in the day, playing split screen local co-op, especially when it's carved up into 4 screens, was really not that. I'm honestly interested to know, like, how did people back in '97 do it? Did they sit closer to the TV or something? Because you've got an already small TV.
You didn't know any better.
Most people probably had a TV that's like, 19 inches, anywhere between 19 and 32 inches. Very small by today's standards, like computer monitor size these days. And if you're sitting back on the couch, if it's one screen, if it's one image, that's one thing. But you take that 19-inch TV, carve that up into 4 pieces. Did people crowd around and get closer to the TV?
Yeah,
because I can't imagine
you also hung back because you didn't know it was a more basic game too. It's not like the visuals were like so in depth.
No, they were the same fuzzy ass smeary bullshit that categorized all or characterized all Nintendo 64 games. But the point I was going to make was, I think what will bode really well for both new versions is that just everyone has bigger TVs now, right? Way bigger TVs. And so I would imagine in the case of like most people, the TV that they have at home now that they play games on is at least twice the size of whatever TV they had back in '97, right? Because the TV size, like what was considered the bigger end of TVs, like 32 inches, is now considered like the tiny size, right? That's the TV you put in the kitchen or whatever, and the one you have in your living room is probably 50 inches or more. I imagine, because you can get. I mean, I got a really good TCL TV for the bedroom from Walmart. It's a 55-inch TV, $329. So you can get a decent TV for pretty cheap these days. So everyone's got bigger TVs, I think. For sure. I think that will make the split screen mode more viable than it was back in the day. Is the long-winded way of making that point.
For sure, I understand, but it's also it'll be interesting to see if this is anything ever more than just a novelty. I was talking about GoldenEye 007 the other day, actually, and like I remember how much fun we had with it, and then I've remembered in probably IGN times trying to go back to play it. You're like, oof. Dual analog control and all that stuff, that'll change the game.
I thought did you notice also that when I don't know about on the Xbox side, but on that Nintendo side, fucking hell, that was close. On the Nintendo side, there's no 007 in the title, right? So I wonder if 007 is like there's a separate kind of legal licensing ring fence around that where they could bring it back, but they couldn't use the 007 branding anymore. Because I have a feeling that is that very specific logo, where the 7 is also like the hand holding the gun, like that is like trademarked and registered like up the ass. Like it's probably one of the most legally protected images or like kind of trademarks in the world. And I suspect that there was like an additional fee, or they just couldn't get it, or something like that.
There might be. The official press release does call it GoldenEye 007.
Oh, it does? It's interesting it wasn't in the logo that they showed. So I don't know.
Well, I bet you the logo, would be Nintendo probably didn't want to have a gun on screen.
Yeah.
Really?
Because even in the fine print here, someone pointed this out in chat, it says GoldenEye 007.
Okay. I may be making too much of the fact that it just wasn't in the logo that they showed then.
You know what I'm making a big deal about, ladies and gentlemen? Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. You can go to Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. You could write in to be part of the show. You could get the show ad free. You could get the exclusive post show we do each and every episode. Of course, you get your name read. You can support us. You get a bevy of benefits for the other shows we do. But most important for right now, ad free viewing. But you're not on Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by MeUndies. We've all heard of gut instinct, but have you ever heard of butt instinct? It's when your butt tells you it wants new undies. Listen to your butt. Luckily, we work with MeUndies, makers of the most buttery, soft, and sustainable undies, bralettes, and socks that exist. You know that I have lived my life MeUndies head to toe for the majority of the last couple years. I'm just all in on MeUndies because they are absolutely the most comfortable clothes I've ever put on my body. Available in sizes extra small to 4XL. They have new colors and prints dropping weekly, so there's always something exciting to check out. You can try their free-to-join membership for free shipping on every order and exclusive perks, like an item shipped to your door every month, secret sales, and early access to their newest stuff. MeUndies has a great offer for you guys out there. For any first-time purchasers, you get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. To get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. That's MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. Shout out to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. Shopify powers our very own KindaFunny.com/store, our merch store. And we love how Shopify has the tools and resources that make it easy for any business to succeed from down the street to around the globe. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere. Shopify unlocks the opportunity of your business to more people every day. Every 28 seconds, an entrepreneur like you makes their first sale on Shopify. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale. You can reach customers online and across social networks with an ever-growing suite of channel integrations and apps. It's more than a store. Shopify grows with you. You can go to shopify.com/KFGames, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/KFGames right now. That's shopify.com/KFGames, all lowercase.
We've gone through the big stuff, the big points of view from that there Nintendo Direct. Why don't we talk about everything?
Well,
else
I mean, that
happened?
very much depends on your point of view, right? Whatever's the big stuff it depends on what your tastes are, right? Like, for example, some of the stuff that I was excited about, we haven't talked about yet.
Okay. There still exists a thing called objectivity. All right, Gary. I am not taking away from you being excited about any of the multiple farm sims, about Pikmin, about whatever, but you're going to sit there with a straight face and you're going to tell me, I still want to call it Breath of the Wild 2. Tears of the Kingdom isn't the biggest thing to come out of this thing. That's what
No, that is obviously the biggest thing, even though it wasn't, they didn't really show anything new. They gave it a title and a release date, which certainly is still very significant, and it is the biggest thing that we know of that Nintendo has coming down the pike. But they didn't announce like a new game. Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, it's something totally new, like it's going to blow all our doors up. It was just more information about something we already knew was coming. Yes, the biggest game they have that we know of, but objectivity is just like an objective viewpoint is just not what happens to align with what you think, Greg. Like, everyone has different. Like, again, some people are really into farming games. They might not be cool.
I'm not making fun of farming games. I'm saying,
I feel like you
know
are,
what,
though.
Gary? We're gonna go through the goddamn recap. All right.
You have done
The hot
nothing
spots are
but
getting ready
Ned
for the
farming
halftime show
games
over there.
since 7 o'clock this morning. I've been watching. I've been following along.
I thought you woke up in the middle of the Direct, Gary.
Well, I woke.
Got
Okay,
him,
7:30.
got him.
I woke up at 7:30. I put on the kind of funny reactions, even though I generally prefer to watch those things cold without little boxes of people talking over it. I did it for you. I put it on there, and what I saw was a lot of negging of farming games.
Well, I mean, you saw a lot of us just being there quiet because it was a disappointing Direct. I said that at the top of the show, and a lot of people in the chat were like, it wasn't disappointing, just to you. So I did a poll, and 65% agree that the Direct was disappointing. So there you go, everybody. It was over 40 minutes. The stuff goes like this. We got Fire Emblem Engage. That's coming out January 20th, 2023. It Takes Two with local, where you can play on 2 different Switches. Online play for this co-op game coming to Switch on November 4th. Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse comes out in early 2023. Xenoblade Chronicles 3's expansion pass, the next drop of that is going to be October 13th. SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake was shown 2023. Did that one get you going? Did you like that one, Barrett? Did it look good?
I mean, it was just them confirming that it was coming to Switch. So there was really nothing new, no new information about that game.
Fitness Boxing, Fist of the North Star was shown. That's coming in 2023. Oddballers was shown 2023. Tunic was shown September 27th. The Front Mission remakes were shown again. The first one's coming in November. The second one's coming in 2023. And the third one's coming sometime in the future. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life was shown for summer 2023. Splatoon 3 got a little moment to talk about its first Splatfest that's happening on the 23rd of this month, September, to talk about what you take to a desert island. Big one for me. Octopath Traveler 2 was announced February 24th, 2023. Fae Farm was shown. It's a farm sim RPG coming spring 2023. The Theater Rhythm, which I can't be saying right, Theater Rhythm, final bar line for Final Fantasy fans is coming February 16th, 23. Mario & Rabbids 2 got its time to shine there. Rune Factory 3 was shown for 2023. Then the big announcement, there's another Rune Factory in development, everybody. Then they showed N64 stuff. They confirmed that Pilot Wings, Mario Party, and Mario Party 2 are all coming in 2022. Then they said for 2023, you're getting Mario Party 3, Pokemon Stadium 2, 1080 Snowboarding, Excite Bike 64, and then This is when they showed GoldenEye and said online play, which is just for them, of course. Various Day Life is out today right now. Factorio, a management sim, is coming out on October 28th. IB is coming in spring 2023, and it got me and Blessing to go, that looks cool. Mario Strikers is getting getting some of its DLC. Pauline, Diddy Kong, a new stadium. It's all coming this month. Atelier Riza 3 is coming out February 24th, 23. Mario Kart 8's Wave 3 DLC was confirmed. It's Merry Mountain from Mario Kart Tour, DS Peach Gardens from Mario Kart DS, and it's coming this holiday. Nintendo Switch Sports is getting golf, which we already knew. They showed some of the courses. That's been delayed, though, to the holiday. Pikmin Bloom was shown, only to be a tease for the fact that Pikmin 4 is real. 2023, you'll be getting a new Pikmin to run around with. Then they showed Just Dance 2023, Harvestella coming November 4th, Bayonetta 3 coming out October 28th. It's Raincoat. I think it's KindaFunny.com/you're wrong. I could open up my thing, I guess.
Yeah,
but I think it's like
right.
Master Detectives Raincoat.
Yeah.
I think there's words in front of Raincoat. I think that's what it is. It looks cool. It's from the creators of Danganronpa. Coming spring 2023, where you run around and you investigate. But then rather than just investigating, like you have to remember what you found in the scene, then you get put in a dungeon and the right and wrong answers come at you and you have to slash through them and do stuff. I was
Greg,
like, that was cool. I get with that.
Should I play Danganronpa?
Yeah, you'd enjoy it.
Okay.
It's an interesting game. It always put me to sleep. It is very
What
much
it was,
one of those visual novels.
my 10-year-old daughter informed me today that a bunch of kids in her school are really into that. So it's popular with the young
cool.
people. Yeah.
Mama Kuma. People love them. They showed Resident Evil Village is coming to cloud October 28th. They showed Sifu coming out on November 8th. Sifu, an amazing game, everybody. Holy fucking shit. This is the best frame rate they could get for this game and put it on for a trailer. Good Lord.
Funnily enough, I was just about to say, because I didn't see the footage, I was just about to say, and that seems like something that might actually run all right on the Switch because it's not like visually that intensive.
It did not look good. Even Janet
I feel
Garcia
like
dunking on Twitter, I saw.
One of the general points, and as you know, I've been on the other side of this fence. I'm starting to come around a little bit now. Maybe it just took a little bit more time. Like I remember getting into an argument with, well, not an argument, a spirited discussion with Geddes not too long ago when he and I hosted, talking about is it time for Nintendo to refresh the hardware and come up with something new because the games are starting to look long in the tooth. I was like, no, they don't need to. The games still run well enough for most people, and blah blah blah. I'm starting to come around to the notion now that I think part of the reason why this direct may have seen a bit thin on where's the new Mario, where are the big first party titles. I think next year you're probably going to see an announcement of some kind of new hardware, and they're probably holding the biggest things for at least a cross-generational thing. So the new Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever it might be will probably be a Switch 2 title, but there'll be how Zelda launched with Breath of the Wild on Wii U and on Switch, but Switch was clearly the place to play. I think you're going to start to see some cross-generational. I think that's going to happen next year because I'm looking at the hardware performance on some of these games, and they are starting to kind of struggle and wheeze a little bit, and I'm starting to think now Nintendo is clear. They obviously have got hardware down in a basement somewhere. It's not that the Switch is going to be the last console they ever make. There's something new coming, but to me, I'm starting to think it probably is now going to be sooner rather than later. The Switch has had an incredible run.
What a run!
Argue. I think you've got to put it in the top 3 Nintendo consoles ever made at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh my God! Of course, no. The Switch has been great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to talk shit about
it has an incredible run. It is the queen, but it's the Queen Elizabeth II of consoles. It had an incredible run. Everybody loves it, but its time is up, and it's time for someone. It's time for something new to ascend to the throne.
Okay.
Barrett, you said you don't agree? You think there's more juice in this apple? You can keep the Switch going forever, but it is getting to the point where it can't fucking run
it
Sifu.
to the monarky and stuff like that is the
like
analogy I would have gone with
You and I do
personally.
it. It's bad.
That's just me though.
Real quick too, from the chat I saw go by, and I can confirm from IGN's Joe Screbbles, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming in February, like I said, to Switch, PlayStation, and PC. So that's exciting. They're all coming out at once. Anyway, sorry, back to where we are. We're at the 34th announcement from the Nintendo Direct. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion was shown. It is coming December 13th. That's the first date we've had for it. Radiant Silvergun is out today. Endless Dungeon is coming in 2023. Tales of Symphonia Remastered is coming in 2023. Then they showed it a montage. It was Life is Strange, The Romancing Saga, Lego Brick Tales, Disney Speedstorm, Fall Guys Season 2 coming out September 15th. That was news the day date. That's now everywhere, and it's going to be everywhere too. Then they showed Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. They said it's coming February 24th.
Yeah, I like the look of those mini games. They'll be popular in my house.
Yeah. And then, of course, they ended with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming May 12th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it to be a disappointing direct.
So you are one of the people that you're one of the 65%, basically.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'm not saying it was horrible. I'm not saying it was blah, blah, blah. It was just a direct where I thought they did the pacing was good because, like I said, we just went through by my count, which isn't giving the montage game something. That's 40 announcements they had there in roughly 40 minutes. So the pace was all right. The problem is that all the games were so similar that it's just a blur at some point of what the difference between all these different farming sim RPGs were.
I guess,
and again, I am not talking shit about farming sims. You know, I love Assassin's Creed, Jesus, Animal Crossing. You know that I've had my fun in the past with stuff like Stardew Valley and whatever. But I'm just saying, like, come on. I guess
the question I would ask then, and it's totally valid for you to feel disappointed, but I want to at least kind of like scrutinize it a little bit. Like, I guess this is why are you disappointed? Like, the definition of a disappointment, right, is when something falls short of your expectations, right?
Sure.
But this has always been the problem with Nintendo Directs, is that in the short period, even just in the 24 hours between, and it happens every time, between them saying there's going to be a Nintendo Direct and it dropping, people let their expectations run away. They get super excited every time, and so when it eventually drops, it can't match up to the sky high expectations. But if you look at the reality of what Nintendo Directs typically look like, this was not disappointing in terms of, oh, well, this wasn't as good as previous Nintendo Directs. It basically was. It was a very, very typical Nintendo Direct. Like, it was almost exactly the kind of Nintendo Direct they do all the time. So if you're actually looking at what Nintendo Directs are, it's not disappointing because it's very much in line with what typically how they show these things. It's disappointing if you let your expectations run away with you.
You are not wrong, but I don't think I'm that test case. Stick with me. At the start of the Nintendo Direct, when we were doing the BS on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, you can watch it now. I compared as somebody who's not, it wasn't born and raised a Nintendo fan, and even to this day, like, my Switch is my least played console. I just described it as I come into the zoo and I get to look at the exhibits of Tim Geddes over there. I called him a sloth. You know what I mean? And every time I come into the zoo, I show up for these Nintendo Directs and I see them all get so hyped for it and then get crestfallen because it isn't, oh my God, where was Metroid? Where was this? Where was that? I come into any showcase we're going to go watch, right? And I go back to the Adam Boyce method that he talked about when he was at PlayStation and when they would plan their showcases, is that there is no possible way to build a press conference, a showcase, whatever you want to call them, and have every game be for everyone. Instead, we want to show you a game and maybe every third, every fourth game is for you. There's something in there that you finish it and you go, well, I can't wait for XYZ, even though the majority of it wasn't something I'm stoked for.
Right.
The problem I have here, Gary, is that this is one of the rare occasions where it ended, and I was like, I guess Octopath, like, I'm stoked for Octopath Traveler 2. Yeah.
It just
like,
wasn't
Breath of the
anything
Wild
for you.
is similar to what you were talking about at the top of it, right? Where it's like, it's a known quantity. Like, we already knew Breath of the Wild. Like, yeah, I'm okay, cool. Or, you know, Tears of the Kingdom. It's going to take a while. But it's like, really, I can't fill 5 spots on my hand from the 40 games I just read. That
I hear you. And
day one,
I'm there. It's totally, and you did a good job of laying out why you had the reaction that you did. But I think you touched on something when you said, like, you're not like a Nintendo first gamer. And like you said, Switch is your least played console. You're not historically someone that grew up with Nintendo, right? Like, you don't have that Nintendo kind of nostalgia in your gaming DNA the way that other gamers do that grew up with the Super Nintendo or the N64 or whatever, right? That's fair to say.
Correct.
Okay.
But to my credit, Tim agreed with me. I had a whole Dark Side of the Moon analogy I did on the thing, and he said he was there with me. And Tim is Mr. Nintendo.
That's true.
Right. So I would say I would just make this point in general. What I continue to like about Nintendo, and I come at this point one way or another all the time on Kinda Funny when we talk about Nintendo, is just do this as like a thought exercise. Take out all of the first party games like Mario, or, you know, on Xbox Halo, or on PlayStation Uncharted or whatever, that clearly indicate that game is for a certain system, right? You know what system. So take those out and just do the third party and just do the third party games. If you took, and we could do this as an exercise, like, take all the obvious ones that are so obvious an Xbox title, or so obviously a PlayStation title, out of the most recent state of play, or out of the most recent, you know, inside Xbox, and take all of the first party titles that clearly identify Nintendo games like Mario and Zelda and whatever out of the most recent Nintendo Direct, and just show me the list of everything else. If you show me, okay, here's what this company announced is coming out, or third party. Here's what this other company announced coming out in third party. This is what this other company announced is coming out third party. Which system is which? You would not be able to tell the Xbox and the PlayStation ones apart, because 95% of the games on both of those systems are identical, right? And that's why I make the argument that when it comes down to choosing between an Xbox and a PlayStation, the game lineups on either one are becoming less and less a part of the fact. Again, if you really, really like the handful of titles that are exclusive, like if you're like Uncharted, Last of Us, Spider-Man, whatever, you're going to go PlayStation. If you like Forza, Gears of War, Halo, you're going to go Microsoft. But aside from that, you're going to have a very, very similar experience of both consoles in terms of hardware performance, in terms of the game library that's available. Even now, in terms of the Game Pass, your PlayStation Plus offerings, because they're becoming more similar. But I guarantee you, I could pick out the Nintendo one because they do the kind of games that only show up on Nintendo. And I know this isn't for everyone, but if you like JRPGs, if you like farming sims, if you like weird ass shit, Nintendo is the company that continues to serve up those games for you in volume in a way that the other companies don't do. So I say it all the time.
Fair.
Thank God for Nintendo, because if they weren't out there doing their thing, the gaming landscape would look very homogenous and very similar, and there would not be much stuff going on between the two consoles that like would strike one out as, oh yeah, here's the Xbox identity like as a gaming machine is what? I don't really know. It's like you have a little bit of something for everyone, really. The PlayStation identity as a gaming machine is what? In terms of the game library, a little bit of something for everyone, really, but perhaps with arguably a better portfolio of first party, single player, narrative rich type experiences, because Sony's really, really good at that. But what Nintendo does is we do have a little bit of something for everyone, but we also go deep on like weird ass shit that like certain kinds of gamers that really like Nintendo games are really into. Obviously, the first party Nintendo games that aren't replicable anyway. If you want Kirby, Mario, Zelda, Nintendo's the only place to get. And those are some of the best games, in the world. And then, but if you want to play some weird shit called fucking Various Daylight, like you can't I said earlier this morning, like we've given up like trying to come up with parody
Various
titles.
Various
Daylife. Like it's pointless trying to come up with parody titles for Square Enix games on Nintendo anymore, because like the real ones are so much weirder than anything we could come up with as a joke. And the farming sims and the weird kind of lovingly rendered.
I hear you.
Remakes of like JRPGs. Like no one else does that. And Nintendo
we got a show to do and
really
go on
important spot, right?
I hear you. I hear you. My one counter argument that I will leave us on, because I don't actually want to argue, we got to move on with the rest of the show here. I got more stuff to do. Would be the fact that I honestly think you might kind of be tiptoeing into a quality versus quantity argument, where I would argue PlayStation does have a lot of great JRPGs, or does have a lot of JRPGs, period. I'll just put a period on it. It does have its fair selection of farming simulators. I don't know if they have the swatch of them we just saw on Nintendo, but I would think a lot of the ones you see over there when you talk about a Tales gamer or whatever is a little bit more memorable than so many of the ones that just went by. And of course, I'd be able to identify as a Nintendo game because they're jaggy and their environments are pretty empty. That would be the one thing I would say. But again, I'm talking a bit out my ass since JRPGs are not my forte to begin with. But
I mean, I think I tend to have like more just like weird tastes in game. Like for me, the standout was the Fist of the North Star fitness boxing game. Like it's like who else is going to bring you that game? That is some weird ass shit. And I love the fact that we are getting just weird games. I will actually play that. Like a lot of the farming games and the JRPGs. Again, I'm really glad they exist. Kind of like Hansel in Zoolander saying like, I don't listen to Sting's music, but I'm glad he's making it. Like I'm really glad that those games are out there. They're not for me, but there are many people out there for whom those kind of games are their bread and butter. And
I've totally stolen your thing. I said it on the stream where I was like, I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yums. This wasn't for me, and that's okay. But I'm just saying, I gotta come out here and call it as I see it.
Okay.
For now, let's call it like I see it with the fact there's a PlayStation State of Play today. The official posting from PlayStation that went up yesterday says, with Tokyo Game Show just around the corner, it's almost time to celebrate the amazing creative contributions of the Japanese game development community. And it's also a perfect time to kick off another State of Play. State of Play returns Tuesday, September 13th with a live broadcast at 3 p.m. Pacific time. You can watch it on Twitch and YouTube. For tomorrow's show, we'll have some great updates from our amazing Japanese partners, along with a few other surprises from developers all around the world. Expect about 20 minutes of reveals, new updates, and fresh gameplay footage for 10 games coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation VR 2.
What are your expectations for this, Greg?
I would like to keep that for the post show because I have a question here from the one and only Mario about that exact question of what are my hype levels for it. And I think it's a good conversation, but it's also kind of dated, seeing as how we're already 4 hours away from the showcase itself. So, like I said, you can watch us react live, youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. Of course, that reaction will be up on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames. And then, of course, there'll be a little bit of a post show for a Gamescast as well that you can get on your podcast feeds, YouTube, But we will see soon enough.
Is it the first time that two big outside of E3, you know, when they rack them up? Is this the first time, like in the general calendar, that two of these big showcases have just happened to drop on the same day?
I would need a historian to come in. I feel like it hasn't happened that we've had a Nintendo Direct and a PlayStation hit like this before outside of an E3. But I don't know. I'm not sure about that. For now. Number 5 on the Roper Report. We have some Ubisoft tidbits from Stephen Toitilo over at Axios. Over at Axios, Stephen had a sit down with Yves Guillemot and had a whole bunch of questions and a whole bunch of things. And they talked about the harassment stuff at front. And I was going to put it in here, but it's kind of exactly what you expect. I didn't know about it, and that sucks. And I felt, you know, like I was betrayed by people. And they go on and recap everything that's been going on with that. But in terms of the game stuff and the other stuff, the businessy stuff, right? Which you should just go read everything on Axios. Stephen had these 2 bullet points that I thought were interesting. The potential rise in Ubisoft game prices. November's Skull and Bones is its first title selling at $70 for new-gen consoles, a price other publishers have begun using in recent years and that Ubisoft had previously committed to long-term. Quote, some of the games will come at the same price as the competition. The big AAA games will come at $70, Eve said. And then the next one was, next year's Mirage will come to consoles, PC, and streaming, but only to Amazon Luna in terms of cloud services, Ubisoft confirms, despite some apparent listings for a release of a Google Stadia version. That's a conspicuous franchise to drop Stadia support. The service's first public beta in 2018 used one game, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and numerous Assassin's Creed games have been released on it since. There you go. I'm not surprised that they're going to move to $70. Clearly, people are getting away with $70 games. They're going to move to $70 games. They're a business.
I'm not surprised at all. I actually think, you know me, I'm no kind of corporate apologist, but I think that games prices have generally remained fairly impressively static, even against like, you know, the rise of inflation. Like I remember, wasn't it the 360 PlayStation 3 generation when games went from 50 to 60 and everyone was like, oh my God, this is outrageous. Yeah. I think I want to say that
earlier than that, though.
No, I feel like it was like that 360
from PS2 to PS3.
Yeah, I think and
Sounds
Xbox,
right.
Xbox it was around right.
Such a blur.
Everyone going, oh, $59.99, it's a big deal. But they've stayed that price now, right? Essentially for 2 whole generations. And what's happened in those 2 generations? Games have become incredibly, you know, much more. You know, we have now have these 100-hour massive open world live service type experiences. You've got 300 people on a team. Like the price of making a AAA game has absolutely skyrocketed in the last couple of generations. So I don't think it's surprising that games are getting a bit more expensive.
Fair enough.
And again, in an
bigger and more time is getting spent on.
And don't forget, we're living in an ecosystem now where, you know, the price of individual games is becoming less and less a factor. Between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, Super Duper Plus, or whatever, you know, tier you go in at, you can now buy a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series console and just get one of those subscriptions and never buy a game a la carte and have a great time.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not against the money or, you know, it going up in price. I do think, you know, it sucks obviously if you're on a budget, but it is the fact that I do think games are going into it. And I see people over here arguing, well, it's still so profitable in this. I mean, in the end, it's all still a business. So I do think that, you know, games are taking longer. They're putting out fewer things. And again, we're getting into a whole conversation here about what needs to be a hit and how do you make your money back. And the fact that, of course, there is a giant spectrum to play with where not everything needs to be the AAA $70 experience.
Yeah, and didn't they? I mean, so with Mirage, didn't they say that was going to be 50 because it's a smaller game? Like that's actually more like that's like a 20-hour game, right? So unlike the typical, I read a little thing that said that Mirage is not going to be like the 100-hour mega experience. That's going to be the Feudal Japan one. but that Mirage is like
exactly.
maybe like 15, 20 hours, and they're going to do it at a smaller price to reflect the fact that it's not as expensive.
Exactly.
This
This is a
seems
smaller
fair
one.
enough.
You have the money. You're right on the money. Standard edition is $49.99 for Mirage. So
Right.
you got it out there. They're doing their thing. But yeah, back to the point Yves is making here, right? He is saying, of course, for the big AAA games will come at $70. So there you go.
And I'll dig these companies out anytime I feel like they're screwing the consumer. But I don't think that, again, I feel like a $10 generational price raise after 2 generations and then being fairly static at 60 is not that extraordinary.
Yep. Number 6, Babylon's Fall is shutting down. They wrote today, with the desire of delivering an exhilarating online multiplayer action RPG set in an elaborate high fantasy world, we launched the game's official service on Thursday, March 3rd, 2022, and have continued to undertake additional development operations. However, it is with deep regret to inform you we will be terminating the game service on February 27th, 2023. Not even a year. As a result, we will also cancel the large-scale updates that we had planned. In terms of the plan moving forward, Season 2 will run until Thursday, November 29th, as scheduled, and the final season will begin with the maintenance scheduled the same day. This final season is the period during which you can earn the ranking rewards of Season 2. As a way of expressing our gratitude to all players, we plan to implement as many events and other initiatives as we can, leading up to the end of service. You could put... you could put screenshots of Babylon's Fall in front of me. I would not be able to identify this game.
No, it's really, these are my least favorite kinds of stories to talk about. I always find this really sad. I take no pleasure in talking about stories like these. I think failure is always sad. I've been involved in my fair share of big failures, and it's heartbreaking. And, even though the game didn't resonate and didn't find an audience, someone out there was a big team of people that really
tried real hard,
put blood, sweat and tears into that game, and all their hopes and dreams are tied up in it, and it's heartbreaking to see it go down the toilet. And then also you've got, even though it's very small, I think I remember something at one point there was like single digits players on Steam, like on the live charts. It was really, really bad. So the writing's been on the wall for a while. But like these people on the internet that kind of like do the Nelson Muntz like like when games fail, it takes no skill or talent and ability to do that. Anyone can like laugh at someone else's failure. But every failure is the result of someone trying their best to make a success. And I find it really, really it's sad. And it's sad for the people, even though it wasn't that many people that were playing it. There's always like a loyal. I guarantee you, if there's a very small group of people playing a game, the people that are playing it are the people that really like it, and those are the people that are going to be heartbroken as well to hear that the game is going. Even though I'm sure they saw the writing on the wall for a while, it's just really sad. Anytime there's one of these, like an Anthem or you name it, one of these games that are like, we're gonna shut the servers down and switch the lights off at midnight on such and such a date.
Yeah,
I always find that like those to me are like really the most. Those are the stories that get to me. I feel sad for the developers. I feel sad
100%.
for the players that remain. Like, it's just sad all around.
Agreed, Gary. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, a game backed by Square, and as you said, according to the Wikipedia, on Steam, the game has an all-time high of 1,166 concurrent players, which fell to just one player in May 2022. So Babylon's Fall has fallen and will be shut down February 27th, 2023. Number 7 on the Roper Report, EA and KOEI TECMO are working together on the next great hunting game. Here's a paragraph from the press release. The EA Originals label has announced a new partnership with KOEI TECMO and Studio Omega Force, the team behind the popular Warrior series, including Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors, to develop and release the next great hunting game. This original IP delivers a truly AAA experience based in fantasy feudal Japan, with more details about this new exciting title coming later this month. You would assume TGS, which is upon us pretty much, but we'll see. So there you go. Not much other than that. So look for that if you're a KOEI TECMO fan, or if you're a EA Originals fan. Remember, It Takes Two, Knockout City. Maybe this will be the next great one. And then number 8 on the Roper Report, a bittersweet one. Andrew Reiner is leaving Game Informer. There's a big old blog post up from Reiner you can go read, but it starts this way. I never thought I would write these words. I'm leaving Game Informer. For nearly 30 years, I looked forward to each workday, eager to see what game news would break, what I would be writing about, and on the best days, what I would be playing. In the time it took to create 330 monthly magazines, I was privileged to work alongside some of the most talented and amazing people I've ever met. For a kid who couldn't get enough of video games growing up, I was living a dream. I knew how lucky I was and never took it for granted. I worked hard. I wanted Game Informer to be the place to go to celebrate games. I think we accomplished that tenfold and have created an outlet unlike any other. In the weeks ahead, I'll transition from writing game news to creating it. I'm entering the world of game development and publishing at a well-known North American studio. Reiner's letter, of course, goes on. I urge you to go check it out on GameInformer.com. Of course, hit him up on Twitter. Wish him well, just like I am, because Reiner's a great person, and I'm excited to see what happens next, Gary.
Yeah, and that's a surprise. Well, actually, the weird thing was, when I not in any way trying to sound mean, but honestly, my first honest reaction was, wait, Game Informer is still going? I thought it had shut down, but I know it's been like
they suffered a lot of layoffs.
It's been increasingly kind of, marginalized and cut back, and now it's a shadow of its former self, which is because it used to be this, titanic, no pun intended, used to be this massive title, right? And part of the reason why it was massive is because it got distributed through all the GameStops, right? Once you signed up for their bullshit plan that they won't let you out of the store until you agree to sign up for, you get Game Informer whether you like it or not. So this massive distribution of being on the cover of Game Informer was considered a big deal because there were so many eyeballs on it. But it's been whittled back and whittled back and whittled back by the fucking venture capitalist sharks that run GameStop these days. And Reiner and GameStop and Game Informer, have always been kind of synonymous, right? You just, like you said, 30 years, you just think these two things are going to be together forever. So yeah. I think the writing's on the wall for Game Informer overall as well. And Reiner, talk about canary in the coal mine,
Yeah, it seems to be the thing. But for now, we begin the era of Alex Van Aken, who has not been promoted to Reiner's position, I know, but I saw he was writing news today because everybody else is on a business trip. So
wow.
Gary, I can't wait to see what Reiner does next, but his announcement's so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, say what came to the mom and grab shops, where would I go?
The official list of upcoming software on each and every platform as listed by the KindaFunny Games Daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah! You want to talk about a disappointing Nintendo Direct? It's because they did not talk about Easy Come, Easy Golf. That's right. I caught it from Nivell today. Clap Hands has made. That's right. The people who did Everybody's Golf, Clap Hands, have a new game out on Nintendo called Easy Come, Easy Golf.
This is what I'm saying. No one else gives a fuck about that, Greg. I don't kink shame, but everyone's got their weird ass game that they're into, and no one else is.
If I had to sit through one more fucking
right?
farming thing to watch you water your goddamn crop.
But here, to bring it into the middle here, Gary, I understand what you're saying. Not everything is for everybody, but I understand with Greg, when you go into your 7th fucking farming simulator game in a showcase, you get a little fucking tired, Gary. So yeah, it would have been nice to see some variety. It might not have been for everybody, but at least it would have been not a farming simulator, Gary, with a golf game. Jesus.
Play with your friends, family, or people around the world. Kick back off on your own. Earn new characters, costumes, and courses as you play rounds in the main mode, tour mode. Track your growth by improving your best score. Hop online and participate in world tournament or online match. World tournaments are set up and blah blah blah. It's basically Everybody's Golf on Nintendo Switch, and as you know, they are shutting down.
Greg, and this could be $1 billion idea right here. What if they made a combined hybrid golf game and farming simulator where you get to play golf, but you also have to like cultivate and maintain the course? Like you're both you're the player and the greens.
Everybody loves Golf Story, and
if you don't maintain the course, then it becomes more difficult and hazardous to play. So the two game genres interact with each other. See, professional game designer over here.
You nailed it. Dying Light 2 has a new season out today. Chapter 2 is free and non-time gated. Lovecraft's Untold Stories 2 is out now on PC. Nobody Saves the World Frozen Hearth DLC is out today. I got an Xbox update. 100% of you should now be able to voice chat from your own Xbox console. If you are unable to do so, this is via Discord. Sorry, it was Discord talking. If you aren't able to do so, you probably do not own an Xbox. That the Discord update has rolled out, so you can use Discord on your Xbox now, everybody. Fallout 76 is getting the pit update, I guess. Various Day Life, as we already said, is out on Switch and PC. Freedom Planet 2 is out on PC as well. New dates for you. Stop the fucking presses. Garfield Lasagna Party is launching November for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PC.
What kind of game is that?
It is a Mario Party knockoff. I would love to see the trailer.
You know that those are some fucking KF streams waiting to happen. You've got to.
I can't wait. He hates Mondays and he loves
premium content.
The Game Awards tweeted it. Very bizarre, but look at that. That's good key art. Look at Nermal back there. And then look at that. We're drumming.
I gotta turn the stream
on.
We're
throwing some stuff. We're having a great time.
1,000,000%. You've got to let me come in and do this. Play this game.
Of course, you're welcome to come. Only it's in November, so you can come to the new studio, Gary.
Only if you dress up as Garfield.
I'll do it. I mean, you saw
Gary,
the
I will dress up alongside
we all have to dress up as Garfield characters, though.
I want to be Nermal. I call Nermal.
I'll be John.
Okay, fair enough. Well, then I'm going to be Garfield. Okay. Usual findings is coming to all the PlayStations, all the Xbox, Switch, PC, Steam, Wednesday, October 12th. Jurassic World Evolution 2, the late Cretaceous pack is coming out Thursday, September 15th on everything that was already on. Flat Eye is releasing on PC October 17th. The Rumblefish 2 will be launching on December 8th on PC, all the PlayStations, all the Xboxes, and Switch. Arcane launches September 20th on PS4 and Xbox. Watcher Chronicles will release on PS4 and PS5 on September 27th. Fall Guys, as we said in the Nintendo stuff, has its next season coming out Thursday, September 15th.
Yeah, excited about that.
Season 2,
Space.
Satellite Scramble. Yeah.
They're in space. I love
The
it.
official description says the new season brings with it a host of goodies, including a new theme, space, new obstacles, courses, new costumes and challenges, and space-themed variations of our previous rounds across solos, duos, and squads. There you go. That'll be there for you.
Oh, yeah, because by the time the Garfield game comes out, you'll be in the studio.
Yeah,
Oh, 100%.
October 14th,
lock
everybody.
that content in right now. I'm all in. I'll go look at Garfield costumes
Please do.
after this. Yeah.
I mean, we have it's the perfect time right now because it's Halloween time.
is it
Halloween
the
stuff.
perfect time?
Oh God, Gary, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. We go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. It's where we send people watching live on youtube.com/kindafunnygames to correct us and tell us what we screwed up. The nanobiologist says Tears of the Kingdom had 3 release timelines. First was announced in early 2021 as 2022. On March 29th, 2022, it was pushed to the first half of 2023, and now with its final release date of May.
Okay.
I don't think it helps us much, does it? Mikey O says the GoldenEye trailer on Rare's YouTube channel does indeed end with the title card and the 007 pistol logo.
Okay.
So, yeah,
all
I
right.
would
That was just me
definitely
overreacting.
say that. And then, wow, you hate to see it, ladies and gentlemen. When it
No.
comes to You're Wrong, there is a Michael Jordan of You're Wrong.
Oh, do we get to go in on someone here? 'Cause that's my favorite.
Now, I'm not going to go hard, but I am going
Okay.
to say the nanobiologist, you fucked up. Nanobiologist writes in and says, Miss News, Bonnie Ross, the head of 343, left late yesterday. Nanobiologist, that was the #1 news story yesterday. The #1 news story
The
yesterday.
first
was
thing
Bonnie
we talked
Ross
about
leaving.
after the studio.
First
reveal.
things out of my word.
That's
Breaking
embarrassing.
news. This Paris Lily came in to talk about it. We covered it yesterday, Nano. And you hate to see it. You hate to see Michael Jordan past his prime, out here gambling while he's playing, smoking a cigar. Embarrassing.
Wow.
I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about it anymore.
Check your facts next time before you hit send.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily. Of course, this show will be back tomorrow, as it is every weekday. Wednesday, it'll be Blessing and Greg. Thursday, it'll be Blessing and Tim. Friday, it will be Tim and Blessing. If you are watching live right now, I'm going to tell you to go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. That's right. We still stream our gameplay over on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. And guess what? Mike, Andy, and Nick are going to do Destiny 2 Day. They're jumping in there, and they're clicking heads on the moon or whatever. So go watch them, Save the Traveler. And if you want to see that after the fact, of course, you could go to youtube.com/kindafunnyplays. That's where we upload all of the archives from twitch.tv/kindafunnygames gameplay streams. If you can't get enough Greg and Gary, great news. Patreon.com/kindafunnygames. We're going to record a post show where we answer Mario's question about the state of play. And remember, you can watch us react live to the state of play, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. If you want to catch it later, youtube.com/kindafunnygames. It's easy. It's all there. It's right there for you. For now, though, we will bid you a fond farewell. Gary, did the hot spurts, did they win?
It's 0-0, 68 minutes on the clock, so some time still to play.
So that's 68 minutes is counting up, right? That's how it works?
Counting up towards 90 plus whatever they add on, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday, via platforms, video game news, you love it, blah, blah, blah. Epic Game Store, use the creator code KindaFunny, patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames to support the show and keep the lights on, wherever you get it for free. Creator code on, if you're going to go to Twitch, use and we love you, and that's it. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.